Dr. Ed Spencer and myself are taking a look at the Sutro Tower. We hear all sorts of talk of radiation, cancer, and people dying, for God's sakes. And we have one of the experts, Ed, up here. Rob states. I'm going to take, here he is. Come on, Rob, come on in here. Let's see this guy. He's got quite a bit of experience. How many people have died out here?
In this Cherry study, there were about 50,000 children on the San Francisco Peninsula, and over a period of 11 years, 123 of them died, and only about 5 should have. So the better part of 120 kids.
Wait a minute, 120 kids. Don't we sacrifice that for science, for God's sake? I mean, do we come on, science?
They were only tracking one disease. And the reason they tracked childhood cancer was because, for example, brain cancer takes about 20 to 30 years to show up in the data.
But
okay?
Listen, I don't trust your opinion. I trust the opinion of a doctor. And we were trying to get Ed. Come here. We've been talking about this. Is what he's saying true?
Well, it's true, but why are you trusting the opinion of a doctor when we're not trained about environmental hazards of microwaves? Why should you trust us? You know, Royal Raymond Rife, 75 years ago, developed the Rife technology for treating bacterial disease and cancer. And they didn't teach us anything about that. And we don't know anything about radiation, so why are you asking a doctor anything?
Listen, can't we? Listen, wait a second. Can't we trust the government? Can't we trust the government to tell us the truth? How many died? 100?
Enough.
120?
Ever since the Gulf of Tonkin incident, I've always distrusted that what our government says.
Wait a minute. Wait. I thought you were going to be a reliable source, and you don't even believe the government?
Well,
look at the city out here.
Yeah.
All of these, this is the most liberal city in the country. There's Alcatraz out there. There's some guys who spent some time out there. But now, the inmates are running the institution. And we are all enslaved in this city. We are all under the gun, so to speak, of these waves. Are we under these waves?
We're under these waves. And
you and I are under the waves right now.
Everybody's under the waves. We're under a mass of microwave waves.
Are they good for us?
No.
They're not?
No.
Tell them.
They're not good for us. We're immersed in microwave energy, and they're not good for us. Wouldn't you agree?
That's what the studies say.
Well, that's what the studies say. The studies say, why in the hell are they putting the damn smart or murder meters on these buildings? I see the buildings one next to another, like Daly City. It's like matchboxes.
The reason they're doing it is because they put an on-off switch on the power on every house in the country. So if you're a peace activist, they can turn your power off and make your life pretty miserable.
Well, wait a minute. But see, the peace activists are saying we want some help from Big Brotherman. We've got to have some regulations, these are the guys that are getting the juice. They're supporting the guys who are giving us the problem.
Yeah, if you look at who the CIA surveils the most, it tends to be peace activists.
I know, but the CIA is the enforcement arm of the Council on Foreign Relations at 58 East 68th Street. We have legitimate guys on the left and right together, but the guys that are doing this, the CIA is the enforcement arm of the CFR, and they want to reduce the population of the planet by 90%. Should we reduce the numbers? Is this for the benefit, of the people out here in San Francisco, for the rest of the people in the country?
Not the only people that believe in mass genocide are some bankers way at the top. I think the rest of us are in agreement. That's a bad idea.
Ed, what about this?
Well, sometimes you sound like a conspiracy theorist, but I'm going to talk to you anyway. I don't think the population should be reduced by 95%, and I think we should have a constitutional republic.
Ted the Terrible Turner, he says 95. Jane Fonda's husband, for God's sake.
Well,
95%.
what's to say? It's a really bad idea. It's one of many bad ideas. Maybe the worst.
Rockefeller and Kissinger and garbage off. Listen, it's cold out here. I mean, you see my hands? They're shaking. Damn. Whoa. And the tower out here is still out here. 120 children. Or
Yeah.
so, how many?
About 124 children in this study died, and about 5 should have. So very large. It was
The five,
maybe 20.
the 5 who should have. God. Okay. God.
Let's.
And I look out there, and here's a tanker. Well, it's not a tanker. I guess it's a cargo ship. It's one of those container ships going by Alcatraz. Are the criminals running the country rather than the country controlling the criminals?
Absolutely. Well, how about why don't we try? Are the criminals running the world? Because that's what's happening. And they're criminalizing everything. They're developing minions of people who
Let's get Rob
deal criminal behavior.
Stand in between us here. You're going to get bombarded with some, not just the radiation.
not just radiation, but
not
other
just radiation.
stuff too.
Well, you're surrounded by 2 guys here who believe that there is a conspiracy to reduce the population of the planet by 95%. All of the evidence points in that direction.
When you're a banker, you got to keep track of 50 million people. It might be, 99%ers who want your job. And so they would much rather have the odds a little lower than that. They have plenty of servants already, so they don't need. I think what Kissinger called them useless eaters, I believe was the exact term.
He said, well, if we kill 19 out of 20, then it'll be space for the important guys. The important guys, right? Every day we see death dumps going overhead. They are bringing in nanoparticulates of strontium, barium, sulfur hexafluorides.
Primarily aluminum and
oxide.
barium.
Yes.
And we see those in the runoff water in the Sierras.
But wait, don't talk about that. We're talking about the people out here breathe this stuff, right?
Right. So the best evidence that it is occurring is the elevated levels in the runoff water from the Sierras. There's no other place for it to come than from the air.
Then we drink it.
So you breathe it. That's probably the most toxic part of it. And alumina is linked to Alzheimer's disease. So it's got a long time bomb sort of a characteristic
Well,
to it.
that sort of narrows the thing down. You reduce the population. What does Kissinger say? Just too damn many people?
I believe he refers to us as useless eaters.
Well, hell. A lot of useless eaters out here. I guess what if we just reduce the down to 5%? More room for
Well, more bankers, I guess, huh?
the banksters, international gangsters. The guys who make that fiat funny money. Doctor, how long has this bothered? When were you first aware of it?
I didn't really start learning anything until I was probably 65.
Most of the people haven't.
So that was a long time ago. Well, no, I don't want to give my age away.
A long time ago.
That was
A couple of weeks ago.
yeah, a couple of weeks ago. I don't want to give my age away.
What you have to realize is that when you tell somebody who is a physician or an engineer or a scientist that their education may have been tilted, they are being assaulted, their way of life, their standard of living, how they're going to raise their children. And so it's fairly difficult to get through to people. And like Ed, it took me a while to sort of catch on that what MIT taught me wasn't necessarily all there is to know.
Well, maybe MIT didn't teach you.
Well, look at it from their perspective. I have a master's degree in finance from MIT, and they never mentioned the Federal Reserve System. If they had, they would have lost their job. A guy that taught me macroeconomics, he went on to win the Nobel Prize. If he'd been talking about and he's prestigious guy, plenty of money now, but if he talked about the Federal Reserve to me, he'd be out. So there's a large lever to keep the doctors, the scientists, and the engineers in line.
Hold it. Listen, I want to get down to the bottom line here. The bottom line. Are they are they, Council on Foreign Relations crew, the Bilderbergers, there's the Bohemian West group here, the Illuminati. This is the home of this group. They go over there to the Grove and they bring out, you know, the children, or at least they say are just not real children now. They don't. They've stopped that. Just throw them in, you know, like a few shrimp in the Barbie, right? They're going to roast those babies up.
Yeah, I think most of the rituals that happen at the Bohemian Grove are done in secret. There's some that are done in public that are fairly palatable.
Yeah.
But the real reason for gathering everyone is to give everybody their marching orders and tell them what's going to be happening and what's your P's and Q's, that kind of thing.
They're allowing this stuff to happen. They're making it happen. They're dropping these poisons on us.
If you have to get your message out to 50 million people, you're going to need some helpers. And so they basically recruit organizations like the Council on Foreign Relations and like Bohemian Grove. And so it's kind of like the roots of a tree that in order for one guy to control millions, he's going to have some organizations to give everybody their marching orders.
The oligarchy, the evilarchy as I call it, are trying to bring about a new world order. That means the abolition of all society as we now know it. Their plan is to reduce the population of the planet.
I've never seen so much bullshit digested and regurgitated by so many people in this city than in anywhere else in the world. For God's sakes, what's happening here?
Boy, they're living in paradise, aren't they?
Well,
that's the draw for this place. And you see enclaves all over of liberal people that have really good hearts. And you probably a center for some of the Eastern religions are here.
Yeah.
So there's a wide spectrum here.
What's the religion over? I was going by Castro, the Castro district down there. What's the religion down there?
I believe partying down, I think, was their favorite religion.
Partying down, is
going
that the
down?
word?
I believe party
there.
down, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
But these guys don't pay any attention to this. They're greenies.
Well, when your child is affected, that tends to rock you out of your comfort zone. But as long as nothing bad happens to you or your children and your family, you tend to go along with the program.
Well, have you seen any parents of children who have diseases waking up?
And
are they waking up?
It's gut wrenching. And when the child first gets diagnosed, they go to a physician like you, and of course they're going to get liver poisons. They're going to get extraordinarily toxic treatments, and that's what they feel there's their lot in life. And a lot of them aren't aware of the fact that it used to be that the Sutro Tower was about the only place on the peninsula that had a large fraction of microwaves. But now they're distributed all over the peninsula.
Yeah. With a smart meter, it's 60 feet. You have to be 60 feet away.
Right. So if you take the Neil Cherry data and you regress it, and you go out to where is the risk ratio going to be 0, it's roughly 40 kilometers. And when you translate
for
that
the power,
for the power, right? So if you translate it into a 1 watt dipole antenna that you see in a smart meter, that translates to like 60 feet in order to be safe. And I can't get 60 feet away from my neighbors or my smart meter.
Wait a minute, you're one of the smart meter guy. I mean, don't they have a real stat on that thing? They can change it. They can juice it up.
It's true that they can fire over 1 watt of power. But see, the FCC says you can be in the presence of 600 microwatts per square centimeter all day long and never get sick.
Don't tell me about the goddamn lies that the FCC is telling us.
You can be sick.
Is that a lie?
And in laboratories, we've seen damaged cells at 6,000 times below that level. 1/6,000th of what the FCC says is just fine.
How do people digest this crap?
That's really the question, isn't it?
That's the question.
Why do people choose to believe that they are safe and that the government is a benign entity? And why did they choose not to believe that there are these persistent toxic trails and that we're getting bombarded with microwaves and that the government is doing everything, the de facto government, because it's not the government? Why do they choose to believe that? Why do people make that?
You live in Marin County.
Right,
You live in Marin County. It's right across the bay. And you guys watch these death domes. Evergreen is putting them out. It's done by the CIA. They use our money to kill our people. And how many people ever look up the sky?
Apparently the Air Force guys don't look up either, do they? Our Air Force doesn't protect us, right?
They're killing us if they're dumping this.
Yeah.
And they are dumping this.
So we don't have an Air Force. And I guess the Navy guys and the naval aviators, they're not protecting us either. They are actually working for the other side, aviator boy. Why don't you protect us? Why don't you burn these things that are spraying us?
Ted Gunderson says, hey, listen, you know, if you're an aviator, if you're a pilot, you got kids too. Is it just the money? Is the money that good? Did you screw your own mother? Kill your own child? Yeah, that's what's happening. And you out there, do you ever look up? We've got a film called Air Auschwitz. Certainly what happened in Nazi Germany was not anywhere near as bad as the stuff that's happening here. The people in this city, it's like, maybe it's Novocaine there. There must be Novocaine from that tower up there. There must be Novocaine that's dropping in the water.
You're taught to be numb almost from grade school. You're taught a kind of belief in a hierarchy and a belief in experts, that kind of a thing. Trusting sort of a nature.
We got
and
a suit going on.
Inquiry is not really taught
we
to
got
the
a
public.
suit going on. I hear you're responsible in part for this thing. Maybe it's going to be like an Aaron Barakovich, much bigger. Because what she discovered is minor compared to the crap that's going on today right here in this city, right here in the city of San Francisco. Smart murder. They get away with murder.
Yes.
And the people don't know what it's about.
Yes, in fact, even PG&E, who is deploying these meters on the people here in Northern California, have a care program. Not that I think that it is related to the care program here in Bohemian Grove, but they're putting on meters. They don't care about the health welfare of the people. They don't care about the fact that military documents reveal that the smart meters were devised intentionally to cause harm. The ringing of the ears, the sweats, the heart palpitations, the inability for people to think clearly and to articulate, the possible brain damage that this causes. It is all designed intentionally to cause harm for people. And my grandchildren are living amongst death to the greatest degree that I could never have imagined in my lifetime, with these death dumps that fly overhead, that these evildoers cause the rest of the world to put up with. The whole world is being surrounded with the tentacles of the smart meters on all the homes. The overhead aerial sprayings are occurring worldwide. People are getting sick everywhere. And people have to stop taking what these few hundred people are dishing out to us. We have to finally say, no, we're not going to allow you to make us sick. We refuse to die a slow death. We refuse to listen to the Ted Turners of the world openly at vineyards talking about cannibalism because there's going to be food shortages and water shortages. We refuse to be told that this is going to be our end. We are not going to sign up for the program that they seem to have felt that they are designing for us. They are not going to do this to us.
How's the suit going?
What you tend to see are a stack up of poisons. I mean, there are environmental toxins, RF radiation, bad nutrition, and GMO foods, and that's really the.
But forget about that crap. That's all minor. Ed, what's happening from the tower over there?
Well, we're getting irradiated.
Does anybody care? Are they that numb, that dumb?
Well, yeah,
It's invisible.
they don't. It's invisible. That's right. You can't smell it. You can't taste it. Nothing lights up. So
Would you tell them?
You're getting irradiated from the tower. The microwaves are not good for you. They're very deleterious. They reduce sperm counts. They cause neoplasms, cancer, so to speak. They cause cancer in children.
Now,
And then we're all getting it, and the government is not protecting us. The government is not what we call the government, the de facto government, which is really not the initial constitutional government. This thing that we have now is not protecting us.
Ed, the President of the United States borrowed $3,400,000,000 against our account. We got to pay for this stuff. To have 144 million smart meters installed.
Well,
He's representing the government. They're taking our money to put this on our people. It's like taking a hand grenade, strapping it on the head of a child, wrapping it with duct tape and sending it out to play.
hey, don't give them any ideas or something new. Huh? Don't give them ideas. Don't let them do their own creativity.
This to me is an act of murder.
Well,
The good people in this city are just dumbed down,
well,
brought down
Yeah.
to the lowest common denominator of human understanding.
Under the guise of environmentalism, Congress was convinced to phase out incandescent bulbs in favor of compact fluorescents. And those things are extraordinarily bright in the microwave. So people take something that was benign in their environment and they replace it with something that's
and you can't get
poisonous.
incandescent anymore, right?
They keep delaying the phase out time.
Yeah.
But the newer technology is LED, which is very quiet electromagnetically. But the notion of using green to promote those compact fluorescents is really a false.
How about gangrene?
Well, yeah, there is
Gangrene.
global warming is a flawed concept. That is to say, a fraud, and peak oil is a fraud too.
Now,
These things are all. This is what sort of is at the basis of all this, of the thinking, and in Washington they're going into peak oil all the time. They go around telling the congressmen, "There's peak oil. We're in danger of peak oil."
We're
And
not in danger. This whole ocean is energy. We can use.
But the
the
fact
hydrogen.
is that the congressional brain, such as it is, apparently is
That's an oxymoron.
flooded with global warming and peak oil propaganda. The lies that we're told are not one-time thing. They are repeated endlessly and refined. It doesn't stop.
Dr. Edward Spencer, would you tell them what's happening?
Well, you're being enslaved, and you're being made unhealthy. You're being made poor, and I guess you're being screwed. Yeah.
With your own government, with your own money. What do you think?
Yeah, pretty much the case.
Yep.
Tell them.
They probably know because they've been listening to your film.
Now listen, you've got a suit going against these sons of bitches.
Yeah, so I'm sort of assisting with a lawsuit that is going to be fairly hefty and have a lot of teeth to it. And it's not been filed yet, and we can't tell what the grounds are and things like that. But this is not, I mean, once you've become a sensitive, you don't tend to give up on this. I mean, you know.
What is a sensitive? I don't know what the hell is. What is he talking about?
If you were allergic to ragweed, it means that before you got allergic, you could be around all the ragweed you wanted, you could play in it. But as soon as you become allergic, a teeny amount of it makes you very sick. And that's exactly what happens with electromagnetic sensitivity.
Is that happening here in this
So
city?
once you get turned on, then you can't go to places that you used to be able to.
Rob, is it happening here in this city?
Oh, it's across the country. It's about 3% of the population
3%,
is immediately sensitive. About 15% become eventually sensitive. And because your doctor has never been told about this, you walk in with the symptoms and they will never diagnose it properly.
Listen,
Just like Morgellons disease.
Rob,
Correct, I would agree with
I've
the
got to
same,
ask this
yeah.
question. Now, look, how about those 125, 26 children? Were they a little sensitive to this?
They were killed. It's the same with Steve Jobs, who had fabulous lifestyle, the best of medical care, and yet he was around microwaves his entire life, and his pancreas didn't like that one little bit, as I read the tea leaves.
Yeah.
And his problem was his pancreas didn't have a chance to say anything.
Now,
But sensitives, it's primarily the blood-brain barrier that's saying things, and so they become, they lose sleep, they become disillusioned. They find that symptom out right away.
There's another guy out there who wants to reduce the population of the planet by 90%, 95%. He owns a big company.
Oh, the Koch brothers?
No, not the Koch brothers.
Well, they're not exactly choir
else?
boys either.
Who else is involved in that industry?
The Koch brothers are...
wants to reduce the population of the planet by 90, 95%. Can anyone else's name come up?
Oh, take your pick. Plenty to choose from.
I think you're going to find out in this story. You're certainly going to find out on Paradigm Shift TV. Oh, we'll go out to England. We'll go out to Ireland. We need you to take it out to the rest of the world. It's cold out here. We're going to go out to another place. Well, we've seen the tower. You've got the message. This is Anthony J Hilder for Paradigm Shift TV and the Free World Alliance, talking to some experts.
Cold experts.
Cold experts.
Goodbye, and don't believe anything your government, what you think of your government, tells you. Say that to your mirror in the morning and when you go to bed at night.